I wish we could predict the future. You know, it would make things so much easier when we're planning and when we're just expecting things. I was thinking of buying a Magic 8 ball the other day, and then I realized that I am an adult man. I should not buy a Magic 8 ball. And even when I was a kid, me and my buddies, we actually smashed open one just to see what was inside. And the harsh reality is that it's not magic dust. It's not a genie. It's just like blue water with like a 20-sided dice or something, and that's what you're seeing. Oh, anyway, my point being, we can't tell the future. You know, when we want to look at like what the future of gaming will be, what consoles will look like in 10 years from now or 30 years from now, we just don't know. The future is totally uncertain. But of course, as with everything in life, we can look at history and we can see what will happen with the future by comparing it to that history as much as we can. And the former head of PlayStation, he has actually just recently sat down with Polygon, and he has given some insight on how he feels the future of consoles is looking. So this is Shawn Layden. I don't know if he looks familiar to you, but he was basically the former PlayStation head. And even though he has not worked for PlayStation since his retirement about 6 years ago in 2019, he kind of has some insight on this whole thing. So this is in this article right here. I've got the link in the description. He talks about quite a bit, but the main highlight is that he feels that the console age is ending. Now, some of this is due to graphics, and these are things that we've heard of in the past. On graphics in general, just how, the advancements in graphics that we have come to in the past 20 or 30 years now. Going from Super Mario Bros. 2 to Red Dead Redemption 2, it's been a gigantic, massive leap in graphics. So we really can't have that kind of leap anymore. That's kind of part of the argument that he does give on why he feels that consoles are just not going to be a thing anymore. You're not going to get newer versions of consoles that come out every 6 or 7 years because you really can't justify this leap in graphics when it's not anything that is really, really heavily requested, and it's not something that really you're going to be able to see that much. And I think that, we could have that graphics conversation all day. That's a conversation that's been going on for quite some time now. But to say that consumers are no longer going to find it reasonable to fork over the cash for a new machine every 6 or 7 years, I think that does make sense. And he says that he feels that companies like Xbox and PlayStation are just going to simply focus a lot more now on making content over hardware. We see a lot of that with Xbox today, with kind of what it seems to be that they are doing, shifting from hardware to now just not caring what hardware you're on. You can play Halo on PlayStation if you want. They seem to be shifting a lot more to buy our content, not necessarily our hardware. It says that he believes that Microsoft is having a come to Jesus moment right now, likening it to Sega's departure from the console space after the launch of Dreamcast. And he feels that PlayStation might do the same. He says if Microsoft does eventually stop making Xbox consoles in the next few years, he feels that maybe that is when PlayStation would get a consortium of industry leaders together and remove the burden of having to do all the hardware themselves. Now, this is very interesting. I find a lot of truth to this, but this does conflict with a couple different things that have come to light, maybe even just since he was sat down for this interview. Even though the interview was just posted a day ago, maybe this interview was conducted a week ago or 3 weeks ago, and in that time, we've heard a couple very, very big things. One of them, of course, being the Steam Machine announcement. That was just like 2 or 3 days ago. That is, of course, a console. That is a company, a very successful company like Valve, usually focusing on content, and their digital platform Steam now going toward hardware, so this kind of goes maybe against this hypothesis. But then, of course, there's also Xbox. We've heard very, very recently from the Xbox heads themselves that they are going to make another Xbox console, and it's going to be a very premium experience. Kind of sounds like it's going to be like a console PC hybrid. So I don't know, maybe the future of consoles, at least for Xbox and maybe PlayStation, is that they also have to make it a PC. I've also heard people saying that the future of just plug and play consoles is only going to be limited to, in the future, Nintendo and Steam. Yeah, that Xbox and PlayStation are really going to just go this no console route. It's just going to be Nintendo and Steam going at it. That would be very interesting. So yeah, a lot of options, a lot of roads that could come to light here. Again, we don't have a magic 8 ball. We don't really know with 100% certainty what the future holds. A lot of different theories, but the former PlayStation head feels that that it may be, for consoles, the end of an era.